Welcome to 14 Lessons Learned from 14 Years in Software Development. My name is Nick Santanzi. I've been here at Cerner for 14 years, spent all of that time in the revenue cycle scheduling department, booking appointments. That's our gig. I started out right out of college as a software engineer, did that for 4.5 years. Love writing code, building things, fixing things. That's my happy place. After that, I got the opportunity to start to lead a team of developers. That was a blast. Did that for another 4 years or so, and then ever since then, I've had the opportunity to lead leaders of development teams and have grown down that path. Outside of work, I'm the father of three rowdy, fun-loving, rambunctious young boys that keep me up on my toes, and the husband to my wife, who I adore. The last the last 7 years, I've had a big change. I've moved to listening to books, listening to lots of books, about 96 books in the last 7 years to be exact. And to give you some context, before this, in the first 7 years of my career, I read 3 books. So went from basically 0 to 1 books a year to more than 12 every year. And this has been huge. It's really accelerated my personal growth and professional growth, and just been interesting to get all these new ideas and fun things to try. I'm someone who I get bored easily, so I like having just new ways to tinker and try to improve how I operate. And also, all 96 of these books are nonfiction. So it's all items on a lot of stuff on leadership and communication, team building, productivity, even like mental health as well. Just trying to just get better overall in many different areas of my life. And reflecting back when I just have conversations with friends, I think, the one thing I wish I could go back and tell my younger self to start doing earlier was begin reading. So make the habit of reading or listening to books earlier in life, and I think I'd be in a better place now. And since I don't have a time machine to go back and bounce a smaller Nick Santanzi on my knee and drop some hard-earned knowledge and save him some bumps in the road of life, I thought that the next best thing might be just to share 14 things that I've learned that I wish I could go back and tell myself, but I can't. So I'll share with all of you instead, and hopefully, I'm confident there'll be at least something for everybody to take away, regardless of your role or how long you've been here or place in life. So starting with the biggest change that kind of started this whole snowball, I'd really encourage my younger self to go and read, or in my case, listen to books every day. And for me, the the ability to listen to books, which I use the application called Audible by Amazon, but there's lots of different options there. And a big thank you to Brandon Rockhold, who introduced me to the app some 7 years ago. So appreciate that. Being able to listen just changed the game. I'd always wanted to read. I knew it was a good thing, consume new ideas, but I just failed to really build it into my routine with any staying power. This all changed with Audible when I started listening to books. I was able to double dip, if you will. Almost felt like I'm cheating, where I can do a mindless task as well as move forward on a book at the same time. Some examples here are driving in the car, doing dishes, folding the laundry, mowing the grass is prime time. So just a ton of different points throughout life that I found I can use and move through books quite quickly, easily one a month. And another tip I'll share is cranking up the speed has really helped me. So I'll you can boost the speed at which they speak to I listen to it on 1.5 times. If that might be too much right off the bat, but you can take baby steps and start lower and kind of crank it up from there. Now, in tons of these books that I've come across, they really speak to the power of habits. And this kind of got me to really think and realize. And one stat that was telling 40 to 95% of our behavior is dictated by habits. So a great amount of our life we're just on autopilot, and we operate based on the habits that we've formed, whether intentionally or not. And so this was pretty mind blowing. Maybe kind of step back and think and analyze. What are the good habits I have? What are the bad habits? And what habits do I want to form or break? And some examples here. One technique that sounded kind of silly at first, but I've had some success with is this concept of mini habits. So like really tiny habits. There's a book by the same name, Mini Habits. And this is the idea of trying to make a habit that is too small to fail. So just laughably tiny and easy to accomplish. Good example here would be if you want to start working out, exercising. Maybe you make a goal to do 5 push-ups a day. So piece of cake, you can drop down, knock out 5 push-ups in no time at all. And this plays off the concept of often the hardest thing in life is getting started on something. So when you're down there and you're doing push-ups, the odds are very good that you're gonna be like, okay, I'm down here, might as well do, you know, 15, do 20. Eventually you're doing 50. You're just building that habit and building that chain of at least doing some a day. And building that muscle memory of just okay, like this is something I do now, and maybe it's linked to a part of your day, right? So when you wake up or when you get off work, just whatever it is, and it just becomes something that you just automatically do. And also, if your day's gotten crazy, and you're about to go to bed, you can at least say, okay, oh, I didn't do my push-ups today, and you can hit the floor, rep out 5 push-ups, and snuggle up in bed, and at least you have a win that you kept the chain alive. And it's something that's helped me out both on the exercise front as well as reading. So I have a goal to listen to at least 2 minutes of a book every day, and that's really helped build that habit for me as well. Now, if you're interested in diving into habits and just want to check out one book on them, the best one I've come across is Atomic Habits by James Clear. Definitely recommend that one. Good kind of summary of a lot of different ideas. Now, my all-time favorite leadership book is Extreme Ownership. This is written by two former Navy SEALs, Jocko Willink and Leif Babin. They were leaders in the Navy SEALs, served over in Iraq and Afghanistan, as well as they were leaders and teachers at the training program for new incoming SEALs called Buds. And now they're out of the military, and their career now is they coach C-suite executives on leadership skills, and they draw parallels to lessons they learned in combat and in the military, and they apply these to the corporate environment. It's given me a lot of very actionable things, changed how I really look at life and operate and behave at work and outside of work as well. The one lesson from Extreme Ownership that really stuck has the exact same name as the title. It is the concept of extreme ownership. And this is the idea that viewing things that as a leader, everything is your fault. So you need to own the problems as well as own these solutions. So if your team is not doing what they're supposed to be doing, it's not your team's fault. That's your fault as a leader. If your boss is not giving you what you need to succeed, that's your fault as a leader for not clearly articulating with your boss what you need, not your boss's fault. So it's this real concept of extremely just not passing the buck and going out of your way to own everything. Some concrete examples might be if you have a test analyst, maybe they're not logging test evidence in the proper place. We're at risk of an audit because of this. That's not your test analyst's fault. That's your fault as a leader. You've not ensured they have the proper training that they need. Or if a team is running late on a project and at risk of missing a deadline, again, that's your fault, not the team's fault. And the powerful thing here is it's a very contagious behavior in your culture. So it can shift from a culture of where people are blaming each other, trying to kind of save face and look for a scapegoat so that they can get out of the line of blame, to one where everyone starts to kind of step up. And as soon as the leader and some people on the team are trying to step up and own the blame, it makes it very safe and very contagious for others to do so as well. And it just creates this very powerful momentum where instead of blaming people, people are trying to step up and own things and own the problems and own solutions to the problems, and it creates a very, very powerful force. This this next concept is dear to me, and I really wish I could go back and beat this into my head when I first became a leader, because I was terrible at it. And this is interrupting people. So when I was a young leader, I would often, I cringe to even think back, but I would interrupt folks all the time that were on my team, and I did it with the best of intentions. I would justify it to myself. I was incorrect, but I would justify it to myself and saying, okay, I'm the new leader of this team. I really, really want to do well. I want to hit all our deadlines. I want to get a lot done. I want to manage our company's time responsibly and not waste it. So because of that, when newer engineers would propose an idea, oh, I think we should do it this way. I would cut them off mid sentence and say, oh, no, 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 we can't do that because of X, Y, and Z. I think we need to go in this other direction. And I'd pat myself on the back. Oh, we saved time there. Good job leading, Nick. And I was dead wrong. Quite the opposite, because I would fail to see what I was doing to these new, bright and eager engineers. I was just stomping out their desire to contribute ideas, and put another way, I was destroying their psychological safety. Which psychological safety is this concept of creating an environment which is safe for folks to speak up and throw ideas out without the fear of ridicule or judgment. So people can really just speak freely, and it's been found to be a consistent thread through high performing teams, that high performing teams pretty much always have a lot of psychological safety. It's been done in studies with Google, has done a Project Aristotle, I believe it was called, and also was introduced to me by the book Smarter, Faster, Better. So the quickest way to destroy psychological safety is interrupting people. And the more you do this, the more they just check out, right? They quit sharing ideas. And this is especially damaging when you have a leader or a senior member of the team interrupting a more junior, newer member of the team. And this gets down to, if we think back early in our careers, I know myself, I suffered and still do, but I suffered at that point from a ton of imposter syndrome. I can remember every day walking up the stairs to work for the first year and a half of my career as a software engineer, thinking I was going to get fired, thinking they were going to figure me out. I wasn't good enough. I wasn't smart enough. I didn't deserve to be here. And they made a mistake in the interview process, and they were going to put it together and, toss me out the door. So I had this mindset. So I was incredibly timid and concerned to just, I didn't want to look stupid. I didn't want to, so it took a lot of courage to ask questions, to propose different ideas. So I think back, if I was interrupted a lot at that point, I mean, it would have been devastating. So I just urge everyone to kind of keep that in mind, and realize kind of the grave consequence they can have when we're consistently interrupting people. So this next lesson is really try to do something hard or scary every single day. And it might be as simple as getting in a really hard workout, or pushing yourself to send an email that maybe you're worried to send to somebody, or learning a new skill, putting yourself back in this beginning state of mind where you're brand new and you have a bunch of questions and you're no longer the expert, stepping out of your comfort zone. And this gets down to the concept of there's really no growth when we stay within our comfort zone. And kind of a quick story. In June here of this year, I was afforded the chance to take a sabbatical, so a full month off work. It was fantastic. And on that time, I got to experience something new. I went backpacking for the first time. So backpacking is you're hiking, and you're also sleeping out in the woods. So you got this backpack, you've got your tent, your sleeping bag, cook system, water filtration, everything in there, and you were living in the woods. So this was something I was intrigued, want to learn more about, did a bunch of research, got a bunch of gear, and went out there, and it was a blast. And here's a short video from my trip, and I was crossing a stream, and bam, a slippery rock got the best of me, and sent me tumbling down on my rear into the water, and got my ridiculously large backpack wet, and kind of bruised the old ego, but that's okay. And I think it's important that we remember it's okay that we stumble, we fall down every once in a while. And I think even more than that, it's important that we do. And if we step back and realize, you know, we're on this well-beaten path and we're never really challenged and we're never stumbling, we're probably staying inside of our comfort zone and not growing nearly as much as we could. Plus, it's just kind of always fun to watch a video of somebody falling down. So thought I'd throw that in there for everyone. All right, next up is getting organized. And for me, my early on, as I became a leader, I realized I needed more than just trying to remember everything. So I started using OneNote religiously, and it was very helpful. So I had a list, and it was a lot better than just trusting my memory. Well, about 2 years ago, I got turned on to this application called Todoist, and it has been a game changer. Would not want to go through life without it at this point. It's basically a advanced to-do tracking application. Have it on all the major platforms and web browsers and whatnot, and you can kind of make different categories for work or home or different hobbies like hiking or woodworking or whatever you're into, and you can make different items that you want to do, and they can be nested. You can also have comments and attachments, and it's links. It's very powerful. The neat thing too is there's a date concept, so you can schedule these and see kind of what's upcoming for today or the next week. And the really powerful thing here too is you can have recurring tasks. So some examples of how I'll use this is I'll make recurring tasks for each quarter. I want to check in with all of my reports and review their goals with them. So I keep those, fresh, and we stay on the same page there. At home, every 3 months I want to change the air filter in my furnace. So I have that in there. Or also habits I want to build. So positive habits for I want to exercise every day and I want to meditate every day. And these are just good friendly reminders of things that I want to do, and then every day they're staring me in the face and kind of helps with accountability from that side. So also after becoming a new leader, my inbox started growing out of control. Couldn't keep up with it anymore. Had to be a little more diligent. And I was at a DevCon talk many years ago, and Dane Hammer was up there and talking about this concept of inbox zero, and basically just staying at a squeaky clean inbox with zero items in there regularly. And I drank the Kool-Aid and dove right in. And that next day, I looked and I went from 5,000 items in my inbox down to zero. And this was a huge positive change for me, because in the back before I did this, I would lose track of things. People would have to, come back and pester me a couple times because I failed to reply to them. I wasn't keeping track of everything that I should have been keeping track of. And this just helped, and it was a big stress reliever as well, because you don't have this list of just infinity scrolling down on all the emails that you've still got in there. And my tactic for this is I try to batch up when I look at my emails into, for my role, about 3 times a day works pretty well, where I'll take 3 chunks of time and I just dive in and try to plow through as many as I can. And any that I can get done within 5 minutes, if I can complete the task, I'll just knock it out right then and there. And if it's going to take me longer, I will move it to a follow-up folder, and I will make a task and schedule it in Todoist as well. Another email tip that's really helped me out is the ability you can right click on an email and you can say follow up, add a reminder, and you can set a time and date that you'd like to be reminded. Now, the way I leverage this is when I send an email outbound. So let's say I'm sending an email to Billy with a question it's important that I get answered at some point. I'll send the email, and then I'll go to my sent folder and I'll set a follow-up reminder for 3 days out. So then in 3 days, this reminder pops up, and I can be like, oh yeah, Billy never got back to me. So I can open up the email right from there. I can reply back with a friendly, little reminder for Billy. I can then go and set another follow-up for, maybe another 3 days out. And this just makes sure that I always get answers and don't lose track of things. I don't send an email off with a request that's important and just completely forget about it. So it's been nice, and not only does it help me, it kind of gives me this bulletproof way to not lose track of items I'm waiting to get answers on, but it also relieves a lot of stress, because before this I would just have this all kind of floating around in my mind, draining me. It was just one more thing to remember, which which kind of stresses you out. So another change I've made is embracing meditation. And if I would have went back and suggested this to my younger self, a younger Nick would have laughed at this idea and told you, I don't have time for this crazy hippie stuff. Get out of here with that. But I really would have been missing out. So how I got turned on to meditation was when I entered my 30s. I realized my memory was really degrading. I was forgetting things, and it frankly it scared me. So you always hear, okay, as you get older, your memory kind of starts to go. Well, I thought older was 80 years old, not in my 30s. So that was pretty alarming. Started looking for a lot of different possible solutions, and one thing I came across was meditation. I was desperate. What the heck? I gave it a shot, and I'm very glad I did. It not only within the first 30 days, I noticed my memory really coming back. I was a lot sharper. Could focus on one task. Didn't feel like I had a million things just bouncing around in my head, distracting me. So that solved that problem. But there were added benefits as well. I noticed I was a lot calmer, a lot slower to anger or to get flustered, both in my personal and professional lives, which was obviously a huge plus. And also I was a lot happier. I was just more grateful and present and appreciated what I had, and was just a lot happier way to go through life as well. So there were a lot of good benefits, and it's something I do to this day. I started out doing 5 minutes a day, and now I do about 10 minutes is good for me. But it's something I really encourage if you're at all interested to give it a look. All right. So along with that, waking up earlier. This is another thing I would have thought was crazy. I was someone for the first half of my career, I would stay up way too late, usually playing the latest video game, and then I would snooze my alarm clock 15 times and just crash land into work at the very last moment. And it was a very stressful way to start the day for sure. Well, after reading this book called The Miracle Morning, it really triggered me to try waking up earlier and see if it was all it was cracked up to be. And it's been huge. It really has reduced my stress. I have a lot more time to get ready. Started having more discipline with going to bed earlier so that I can wake up a little earlier, and I'm able to just get a lot done in the mornings. So these positive habits I'm talking about, I wake up, I work out, take a shower. Then now that we're working from home, I'll step in my backyard and I'll close my eyes and set a timer on my phone, and I'll meditate for 10 minutes, and then come in and get going at work. And then I'm at work before most people are signed on yet that I work with. So I have this my most productive time in the day as well, where I'm usually able to knock out my highest priority tasks right then and there before a lot of people even sign in. So it's very uninterrupted time. People aren't asking questions yet. The fire drills of the day haven't popped up yet, and I can take care of kind of the really important things on my windshield. So yeah, it's just been great for productivity as well, and just far less stress as well. So it's been worth it. So another thing I was terrible at was procrastinating. I was a person that would wait until the very last day to write their performance review every year, and I would wait to do my required learning courses until the day they were due. And I've since moved to really aggressively attacking any of these items with the due date just to get them done and off my plate. And I kind of did it originally just to reduce stress again, so it's not close to the deadline. It's kind of a relaxed pace to get things done. But the other piece that was a really added benefit is the flexibility it gives you. So if you take an example of, let's say your performance review is due Friday, and you wait until Friday to start it. But then on Friday, a big client issue comes up, an area that you're an expert on, and your team really needs you to engage on this client issue. Now you're really in this tough situation because you either need to fail to get your review done on time, which is a bad look, or you can't help your team out with this client issue, which is probably an even worse look. So there's really no good outcome, and this is all due to your poor planning to get you into that situation, right? So that's something that's really paid off, that shift for me. Also, I've gotten a ton of value with mentoring and being a mentee as well. So over my career, I've had the fortunate opportunity to be a mentor to a variety of folks over the years, and it's been very fulfilling for me and very helpful. So I feel like it's very much a two-way street. I always get at least as much out of the experience as the person I'm mentoring. It's helped with networking with folks throughout the company and learning more about what their areas do, and has been really rewarding to help them. And also, I feel like it's really supercharged the you just get more problems to think through and more situations to help someone deal with. So not only those that you organically encounter yourself, but you're helping other people think through things and kind of learning along with them and seeing what works for them, and you get kind of more tricks and more perspective. Now, as far as myself getting a mentor, that was something that I knew I should do, but I kept procrastinating. I was too lazy or too scared or a variety of reasons. But 2 years ago, due to a leadership program here at Cerner, they gave me a firm nudge to go out and find a mentor, and I'm very glad that they did. I Last 2 years, I've been very grateful to Brian Wallace and the mentoring that he's given me. It's been excellent and even more helpful than I ever could have expected. Just helping me organize my thoughts and being a sounding board and giving me more perspective on things and different perspective. And so I'm very grateful there. But I will say, for anybody who maybe doesn't have one yet and is facing some of this, it was I can understand how it can be intimidating, because for me it definitely was. I wanted someone strategically that was outside of my organization that I did not yet have a strong relationship with, but that I had a lot of respect for. So it's understandably hard to go approach someone that you don't know very well and ask for a chunk of their time on a recurring basis. So that's what I was up against, and I wanted to ask Brian in person. This is back when we were still in the office, and I remember I'd cruise by his office and kind of sheepishly, kind of peek in through the window and see, is he on a call? Does he have someone in there? Is now an okay time? And do I have enough courage to ask? And I can remember. I mean, it sounds ridiculous, but like I had butterflies in my stomach. I mean, I almost felt like I was trying to get the courage to go ask a girl out on a date in high school. I was just, I don't know, worried about like rejection and all these other things. But those fears were unfounded, and Brian made me instantly comfortable, and it's been fantastic ever since. So I'd say just push yourself and go do that scary thing, because it's worth it in the end. Now, as I started leading a team, I went through a period where I put a ton of pressure on myself to know the answers to questions, right? So engineers, people on the team would come up and ask me how to do something, and gosh, when I didn't have the answer, I would beat myself up really bad. I'd feel terrible. I'd have these thoughts in my head of oh gosh, like Nick, like you didn't know this answer to the question. They're going to lose respect for you. They're going to wonder why you were put in this leadership position, and think you shouldn't be there. Kind of this imposter syndrome, right? All over again. And what really helped me was getting comfortable with saying, I don't know, but I will find out. And as long as you follow up and you do find out and you do close the loop and get back to them, that's a perfectly acceptable answer and something to really embrace. And for me, it was very liberating, and maybe, I don't know, just a lot less stressed out and a lot less hard on myself. So also, I'll say I've found it's really worth having tough conversations, because not only will you be happy, but the person, the other person will be as well. And the one that really, the examples, right, that come to mind are feedback. It can be tough. And as a leader, especially as a new leader, these are really can be challenging conversations to have. So it's your job. You got to push yourself to do it, because that's a huge part of your job is giving feedback, both good and bad sometimes. And so when you have to have those talks of, hey, your performance isn't quite where we think it should be, or you're interrupting people all the time in meetings, or whatever it might be, that can actually be kind of a scary thing to go into, because you don't want to hurt somebody's feelings, you don't want to damage the relationship. What if they're defensive and blow up on you? All these thoughts can naturally come into your mind. But I'll definitely say that every single one of these, tough conversations, every one of them went a lot better than I expected them to. And also I was I was happy 100% of the time after the fact that I had it. I was like, okay, that was definitely the right decision, and I felt a weight off my shoulders that I faced that head on, and in almost all of these conversations too, the associates would thank me for giving them that feedback and for being forward with them. So I think it probably grew the amount of respect between us and our relationship in the end. So and these also might be, having tough conversations with your manager, with a peer, just that's just feedback's one example, to those that report to you. But with that, I will close, and I just want to give a big thank you to everyone who joined me today. Really appreciate it. Hope you have a great day, and if you ever have any questions, I'm here and happy to help. Bye.